Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin with a simple promise. If you will change, everything will change for you. If you want to be wealthy and happy, you don't need to wait on the government. You don't need to wait for the economy to improve or for someone to give you permission. What you need is to look within. You see, wealth and happiness are not reserved for the lucky. They're not reserved for the chosen few. They are reserved for the people who choose to grow. And that's the difference, my friends. It's not the blowing of the wind that determines your destination. It's the set of your sail. Now let me tell you what I mean by wealthy. Wealth is not just money in the bank. You can be rich and miserable. I've met them. They've got millions in their accounts and not a smile on their face. That's not wealth. Wealth is the abundance of all good things, good health, good relationships, peace of mind, spiritual well-being, and yes, enough money to live life on your own terms. And happiness? Happiness is not just laughter. It's not just parties or fun. No, happiness is progress. It's the joy you feel when you know you're becoming more than you were yesterday. It's the internal peace of knowing you're living a life that matters. Now, most people think that to become wealthy and happy, you have to be lucky. But I learned from a mentor, a man who changed my life, that luck is what happens when opportunity meets preparation. And preparation is your responsibility. Success is not something you pursue. Success is something you attract by the person you become. So what do? We change. That's the beginning of all transformation. You change your mind. You change your attitude. You change your philosophy. And then your life begins to reflect those inner changes. Now here's a powerful idea. Life responds to deserve, not to need. If you want more, you must become more. If you want wealth, you must first become a person worthy of wealth. If you want happiness, you must cultivate a mind and a spirit capable of joy. That's the truth. When I was 25 years old, I was broke. I had pennies in my pocket, nothing in the bank, and I was behind on my promises. I'd made excuses. I'd blamed circumstances. I told myself I didn't have the right education, the right background, the right support. And then I met Mr. Schoaf. He asked me, "Jim, what's your plan?" I told him I didn't have one. He said, "Then that's your problem." He told me something I'll never forget. He said, "Jim, if you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan. And guess what they have planned for you? Not much." Friends, that was the wake-up call. That's when I decided to become a student of life, a student of success, a student of wealth and happiness. I studied, I listened, I read, and I practiced. And little by little, things began to change because I began to change. You can start the same way. It doesn't matter where you're starting from. What matters is where you're going and who you're becoming. You can begin today. The first step is to take responsibility for your life. You say, "But Jim, it's hard." Yes, it is. But it's easier to live a disciplined life than a regretful one. You say, "But Jim, I don't have time." You have the same 24 hours as the wealthiest, happiest people on the planet. It's not the time, it's how you use. It's not the wind, it's the sail. So here's what I want you to remember from today's message. Wealth is something you attract by the person you become. Happiness is the result of living intentionally and growing daily. And change, real, lasting change, begins with you. You've got dreams, you've got desires. Now it's time to develop the disciplines. You've got potential. Now it's time to build the plan. Let today be the beginning of a new philosophy, a new attitude, and a new direction. If you want to be wealthy and happy, it begins with one decision: to become a better version of you. And that, my friends, is a philosophy that can change your life. Asterisk, asterisk. Let's talk today about the foundation of all achievement, all growth, and all wealth. And that, my friends, is your personal philosophy. Now, I want you to understand this very clearly. Your personal philosophy is the set of the sail. It's the way you think, the way you process information, and the way you interpret what happens to you. Two people can go through the same circumstances. One comes out stronger, the other bitter. What made the difference? Philosophy, you. See, we are not born with a fixed mindset. We're not born knowing how to think. Thinking is a skill. And thinking correctly, thinking accurately, positively, productively, that's the secret. That's the soil from which success grows. When I was just starting out, I didn't understand this. I thought success was something that happened to you. I thought if you worked hard, showed up, smiled at the boss, and waited patiently, one day success would come knocking. But that's not how it works. Success doesn't show up because you wish for it. It shows up because you're prepared for it. Mr. Schoaf taught me. Jim, if someone hands you $1 million, best you become a millionaire very quickly. I said, why? He said, because you better learn to handle the money, or the money will handle you. And that's when I got it. If you want more, you must first become more. So let me ask you, what's your personal philosophy? What ideas are you building your life on? What do you believe about money? About effort? About failure? About growth? Some people have a philosophy that says, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. I reject that. I believe anyone can change their life with the right ideas and the right effort, but your philosophy must support that. Because if you don't believe it's possible, you won't try. And if you don't try, you've already lost. Here's what I've learned. We don't get paid for the hour. We get paid for the value we bring to the hour. You want to increase your income? Then increase your value. And how do you increase your value? You increase your knowledge. You increase your skills. You increase your insight. You build your character. That's why I say, formal education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. So many people stop learning after school. They close the last textbook, walk out with a diploma, and think the learning is done. But the learning is never done. The day you stop learning is the day you start declining. Let me give you a small example. Let's say you read just one book a month about your field. That's 12 books a year. In 5 years, you'll have read 60 books. That alone would put you in the top 1% of your profession. Not because you're lucky, not because someone chose you, but because you chose to grow. That's philosophy. In action. So what should you study? Study success. Study failure. Study people. Study health. Study money. Study history. Learn from the past and invest in your future. And let me give you this. Don't just gather information. Gather wisdom. Wisdom is information applied. Wisdom is knowledge plus experience, filtered through reflection. And when you study, don't study casually. Study intentionally. Keep a journal. Take notes. Make connections. Build your own philosophy brick by brick. Now, someone might say, but Jim, what if I build the wrong philosophy? Well, here's the good news. You can change it. You're not stuck with your current philosophy. That's the beauty of being human. We're not trees. We can move. We can change. We can grow. I changed mine at age 25. That's when I realized I had built my life on excuses, blame, and passivity. I tore it down and started fresh. And let me tell you, that was the best decision I ever made. Because once you change your philosophy, your results change, your emotions change, your income changes, your relationships change, your future changes. Why? Because your philosophy shapes your attitude. Your attitude shapes your actions. And your actions shape your results. It all begins with how you think. So let me leave you with this challenge. This week, begin to examine your personal philosophy. Where did it come from? Who shaped it? And more importantly, is it serving you? If it's not, change it. You are not a victim of your past. You are the architect of your future. As Jim Rohn would say, you cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction overnight. And that change begins with a new philosophy. Let's talk about one of the greatest assets you'll ever have in your life. It's not money. It's not time. It's not talent. It's attitude. Yes, attitude. That little thing that makes a big difference. You see, life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you respond to it. The winds blow on all of us. Economic winds, political winds, social winds, emotional winds. But it's not the blowing of the wind that determines your destination. It's the set of the sail, and attitude is the sail. Let me tell you what attitude will do. Attitude will make the poor rich, and a bad attitude will make the rich poor. It doesn't matter how much you have, if your attitude is sour. If you see everything through a lens of bitterness, you will sabotage yourself at every turn. You ever meet someone who walks into a room and the whole place gets darker? That's attitude. They carry with them a cloud of criticism, complaint, and cynicism. But you also meet people who walk into a room and it lights up. They lift the energy, they raise the temperature, they make things better just by being there. That's also attitude. You get to choose which one you'll be. When I was young and broke, I had the wrong attitude. I blamed the government. I blamed taxes. I blamed my boss. I even blamed the weather. And worst of all, I blamed the company. I worked for one day Mr. Schoaf said to me, "Jim, if the company pays you $5 an hour and you think you're worth $10, quit. But if you stay, you've agreed to the deal. So don't complain." That was a slap, but it was a good one. And that's when I learned, don't ask for things to be easier. Ask to be better. Don't ask for less challenge. Ask for more wisdom. That's the attitude of a winner. You see, most people think they have to wait for everything to be perfect before they can be happy. But here's the truth. Happiness is not something you get at the end of the road. It's something you bring to the journey. You don't wait to be wealthy to be grateful. You become grateful, and that leads to abundance. Because what you appreciate appreciates. Now, attitude is like a muscle. You don't build it by reading about it. You build it by practicing it. Start with gratitude. Make a list of what you're thankful for, not once a year on Thanksgiving, but every day. Gratitude is the seed of abundance. If you can't appreciate what you have, you'll never receive more. Then practice responsibility. Own your life. Don't blame. Don't make excuses. Don't wait for someone to come rescue you. You're the hero of your own story. You've got to decide, is life happening to you or for you? That decision alone will change your perspective and your outcome. And then add optimism, not fake, foolish optimism. I'm talking about grounded, intelligent optimism. The belief that you can grow, that you can change, that tomorrow can be better because you're willing to make it better. Now let me tell you this, your attitude affects everything. It affects how you treat your spouse, how you parent your children, how you show up at work. It affects your health, your wealth, your influence, and your legacy. And people can feel it. Ever try to do business with someone who has a bad attitude? You don't want to. You'll go out of your way to avoid them. But when someone has a good attitude, when they're positive, coachable, enthusiastic, they attract opportunities like a magnet. That's the kind of person people want to work with. That's the kind of person people want to follow. And that's the kind of person who rises in life, not because of luck, but because of choice. I remember someone asked me once, "Jim, what's the best way to change my life?" I said, "Start by changing your attitude. The rest will follow." Because once your attitude changes, your energy changes. Your habits change. Your relationships change. Your decisions change. And your results? Oh, they change big time. So let me ask you, what's your attitude? Is it lifting you or limiting you? Is it helping you or hurting you? Is it attracting opportunities or repelling them? Check yourself, and if it needs adjusting, adjust it. Just like a thermostat. Set it higher and watch your results rise. To meet it, let's wrap up with this. If you want to be wealthy and happy, start with the inside. Fix your philosophy, adjust your attitude, and you'll start seeing changes on the outside. The law of sowing and reaping always works. But you've got to sow the right seeds in the right soil. And attitude is the soil of success. Asterisk, asterisk. Now, let me tell you something that separates the successful from the unsuccessful. It's not talent, it's not education, it's not even luck. It's discipline. Yes, discipline. The ability to do what you should do, when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. You see, discipline is the bridge between thought and accomplishment, between inspiration and realization, between dreaming and having. Everyone wants a better life. Everyone wants more money, better health, stronger relationships. But only a few are willing to pay the price. And the price, my friend, is discipline. Now, don't misunderstand. Discipline doesn't mean punishment. It means doing the necessary work. It means mastering yourself, not just your craft. And here's what I discovered. It's easier to carry the pain of discipline than to live with the regret of neglect. Regret weighs tons. Discipline weighs ounces. You neglect your health, you'll pay the price later. You neglect your finances, you'll struggle when it matters most. You neglect your relationships, and suddenly you're alone when you need someone. It happens gradually, then suddenly. Discipline, on the other hand, builds day by day, choice by choice, habit by habit. Start small, but start. I remember when I decided to get serious about reading. Mr. Schoaf told me, "Jim, if you read just 30 minutes a day, that's 182 hours a year. That's enough to put you in the top 5% of your field." I didn't believe him until I did it. I started with just one book, then another, then another. And the more I learned, the more I earned. And it wasn't luck, it was discipline. Get up a little earlier, stay up a little later. Do a little more than expected. Say no to the easy path. Say yes to your better self. Let me give you a few disciplines that change everything. Daily planning. Don't start your day until you've finished it on paper. A few minutes of planning can save you hours of frustration. The people who accomplish the most don't work more, they work smarter. They manage their time like money. Reading and learning. Constant learning is a discipline. It keeps your mind sharp, your ideas fresh, and your confidence high. The more you learn, the more you earn. Physical health. Treat your body like a temple, not a woodshed. Discipline yourself to eat right, move your body, rest well. Health is a foundation for all other success. Financial discipline. Save. A part of all you earn. Don't spend more than you make. Invest in what you understand. Wealth is not built on big wins. It's built on smart habits repeated daily. Emotional control. Discipline your emotions. Don't get upset over small things. Don't let someone else's poor behavior control yours. Emotional maturity is one of the greatest forms of discipline. Finishing what you start. The world is full of starters, very few finishers. Discipline yourself to see things through, to keep promises to yourself. Now, here's the beauty. Every act of discipline strengthens you. Just like lifting weights builds muscles, small acts of discipline build self-trust. And self-trust is the foundation of confidence. And confidence leads to action. Action leads to progress. Progress leads to results. Discipline is not a one-time act, it's a habit. And habits are formed by repetition. You don't get fit by going to the gym once. You don't get rich by saving money once. You get there by doing the right thing, consistently, over time. People ask me, "Jim, what if I mess up? Well, that's human. The key is to get back on track quickly. Don't let a bad day become a bad week. Don't let a slip become a slide. Forgive yourself and return to discipline. The best time to start? 20 years ago. The second best time? Today. Discipline is a gift you give yourself. And eventually, the pain of discipline becomes the pride of discipline. You'll look at your results and say, I did that. Not because it was easy, but because you were committed. You showed up, you followed through, and you grew into the person who deserved the success. That's wealth. That's happiness. That's the reward of discipline. Let me wrap this up by reminding you, if you want more from life, you must become more, and becoming more requires discipline. The bridge to everything you want in life is built one brick of discipline at a time. And once you build that bridge, you can cross over to a life of fulfillment, prosperity, and joy. You've got the ideas. You've set your goals. You've started to build discipline. Now here comes the most important part of all. Action. Ideas are powerful. Goals are inspiring. But without action, they're nothing more than wishes. See, what separates dreamers from doers is one thing: execution. Now listen carefully. It's not what you know that matters. It's what you do with what you know. You can attend all the seminars, read all the books, watch all the motivational videos. But if you don't put your feet on the ground and move, nothing changes. Let me tell you, action is the only thing that produces results. Not thinking, not talking, not planning. Action. Let me give you one of my favorite quotes. Don't let your learning lead to knowledge. Let your learning lead to action. See, some people get trapped in what I call the preparation loop. Always getting ready, always thinking, always planning. But they never launch. You don't have to be perfect to start. But you do have to start to get perfect. When I began my journey, I was broke. I mean really broke. I wasn't making much money, I didn't have a degree, and I didn't know anyone important. But I had something more valuable: a decision to act, a decision to change, a decision to do something about my life. Now, action doesn't mean giant leaps. Sometimes it's small steps. Sometimes it's just making the phone call, reading the book, showing up at the meeting, writing the idea down, speaking to that one person. One action leads to another, and momentum builds. People say, Jim, I'm waiting until I feel ready. Let me tell you something. You'll never feel 100% ready. Don't wait for the stars to align. Don't wait for permission. Take the first step and the path will reveal itself. You see, life rewards action. When you act, even imperfectly, you signal to the universe that you're serious, that you're ready, and you begin to attract people, resources, and opportunities that were invisible when you were idle. Let me give you a formula that changed my life. Motivation gives action, gives results, gives reinforced motivation, gives more action. When you act, you produce results. And even small results fuel your belief. And that belief gives you more courage to act again. It's a beautiful cycle. But it starts with one courageous decision to do something. Take inventory of your goals. Then ask yourself, what's one small thing I can do today to move toward it? You want better health? Go for a walk. Replace one bad meal with a good one. You want financial freedom? Start tracking your spending. Read one book on investing. You want better relationships? Call someone you love. Say something kind. The key is movement. Now, there's a second piece to action, and that's consistency. Doing the right thing once feels good. Doing it every day transforms your life. One workout doesn't make you fit. One book doesn't make you smart. One investment won't make you rich. But a habit of action? That builds a future. Show up even when you don't feel like it. That's called character. Act when you're afraid. That's called courage. Act when no one's watching. That's called integrity. And act when no one believes in you. That's called faith. Here's a truth you need to remember. You are not a tree. If you don't like where you are, move. You are not stuck unless you decide to be. You have the power to change your life, not someday, but today. And it starts with one brave step. So as we close this part, remember, don't just wish, act. Don't just hope. Act. On single quotes. Just learn. Act. Because once you act, everything starts to change. And when you combine clear goals, consistent discipline, and courageous action, you become unstoppable. That's how you get wealthy. That's how you get happy. That's how you get whatever you want.